Despite Nigeria's rising technology sector, there's still the challenge of how to improve diversity. The number of women in the space is still very low, and more needs to be done to encourage female participants. In my discussion with Titi Adewusi, co-founder of Niger Kids, we talk about the challenges facing women and how to address some of them. Enjoy the chat. When we talk about women in technology, are you satisfied with the numbers we have?
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, the population in Nigeria is about 49% are made up of women. But when you look at women in tech roles, then you know that, it's a different ball game. So when we look at how many percentage of women are programmers, maybe only 14%. How many people are in tech space generally that are women? We have about 20%. So the numbers are far from where they need to be. And that, I think everybody's aware of that.
And as a woman working in technology, how exciting has the journey been for you?
It's really been exciting. It's been scary, but I think it's been exciting. I think what helps my case more than most people is that I had two other co-founders and they're both women. So it's like we are bonding together to make it happen. But I think the typical challenges that women face in the tech space are the same ones that I've been through. The first one among them is your, confidence gap, which is the main reason why a lot of women are not in tech. So there's that confidence. There's the fact that we tend to downplay our achievements. There's sometimes I'm sitting in a meeting and my male counterparts are talking and they're saying things that they've done. I'm like, wow, you mean it? I've done like twice of that. But they have a bit more confidence than, most the average female founder. There's also access to funding. A lot of money from angel investors, from VCs are mainly going to the male. It's said that less than 5%, come to women, which also means that a lot of more successful ventures are male. So those are some of the challenges we are all experiencing in the sector. There's also the issue of how many CEOs are women that have gone ahead and raised funds. So everything is like, it just seems to be, the day for the men. And so this is some of the challenges that we are experiencing. Sometimes being female also means they're not taking you seriously, because I've been for meetings where I go with my junior colleague and they automatically turn to him thinking that, he's the boss, he's the MD, he's the CEO, he's the founder, because they're just that bias out there. And so those are just a few of the challenges that we experience.
So it's funny that I asked you about, how exciting the journey has been for you, but you're talking about the challenges only. Surely there must be some perks, to this.
Well, there has been some perks. So let me give you an example of some perks of being female. There is a major push. So it means that sometimes when they want to choose people, they say, oh, we've already chosen 5 guys, so we need a female to balance it up. So it means that those opportunities and those doors open out to you. I think another part that has been exciting is also seeing people, other females that are just excited because a woman has gone ahead of them and done that. So the barriers that we've broken, the awards that we've won, both globally and locally, have been some of our excitement. So honestly, I should not talk about only the challenges. So we've also won awards. We've also been recognized here, in Lagos, as well as internationally in the States, in Europe. So those are some of the exciting parts to it. Some of our, revenue goals, we've met them. So it's not as if it's been all challenges. It's really been some exciting part as well.
Oh. Even though the awareness and recognition of women and girls in science and tech is helping to change the gender stereotypes, gender roles are still a big issue. How can we go about changing this narrative?
Yes, I think the first thing is we need more role models. We already have some, but we need more. When people immediately think of tech, whether it's globally, whether it's locally, they immediately start reading out all the men, or people talk about Mark Zuckerberg, people talk about Larry Page. They rarely ever mention women. So we need more role models. The good thing in Nigeria is that we're increasingly having some. So we have Tokwe of Crowdiverse, we have Damina of Shotters, we have Odunayo picky person, a lot more role model, but we need more. And we need these role models to start from a very early age, from, when they're in nursery school, when they're in primary school. I mean, I was taught programming, and they never mentioned that the first programmer was actually a woman, Ada Lovelace. They talked more about the men. So we need more role models. I think that would be the first thing that we'll do. And the same thing with funds. We need more funds that are focused on female founders. We have a number of these that have started, which is good. But I think if it becomes something that every VC, every angel investor knows that a percentage of whatever amount they give needs to be given to female founders, then it will help to promote that. It would help to create more success stories. So I think having those policies, having those quotas, that promote that would be the way to go. I think another thing I would say is that let's start early. Most girls drop out of anything STEM related when they're in junior secondary, so they don't go on to senior secondary to do it. It said only 19% of people that graduate are actually women in STEM roles. So it means that we need to start early. We need to start early educating them. We need to start early helping their confidence. We need to start early with our awareness. We also need to start early in terms of how we bring STEM. The time when we do it, we show it with male orientation or male bias. You show it more as building things. But the other aspects of STEM, I mean, if you show it more as, soap making, makeup making, more girls will be interested in it than just show it as construction and building. So I think telling the story in a different light will also engender a lot of girls to start early in terms of STEM. I think another thing is that math is critical for STEM. And for tech generally. Most math courses are taught by women in primary school. Most women didn't like math in primary school, so they tend to pass on their fears and their biases along to the girl child. So we need to change that. We really need to build their confidence level from primary school, encourage more of them into the various field of STEM. I think that is one of the two things that I would say would help. Once we change that narrative, once we promote more of that, and once we have more of that quota that promotes it, I think we'll do great.
Well, now that you've taken the conversation to, the numbers of girls embracing STEM, do you think there are enough local success stories of women who have excelled in technology that can serve as role models?
No, they're not enough. And even where there are, their stories are not being told. If I call a typical girl and say, oh, who do you know in tech? She's not going to mention any women. Meanwhile, there are women that are heading companies in Nigeria that have gone on to have a number of success stories, but nobody knows about them. They're only known in very few sectors or very few, female founder groups. So we need to tell on a national level more of these stories. In schools, we need to have more of these women be brought to the forefront. That's one way to encourage them. And I think another thing is that even when they're, like I said, when we're telling stories about tech, we tell it from a male bias. There's a way they do it that only guys will be interested. That's the honest truth. But there's a way you can tell the story of what's happening in tech that a lot of young girls will be interested in it and help boost their confidence that you can do it. It's not as hard as you think. I think those are the things that can really help us have more, girls start up tech and STEM related careers.
And how can we encourage more girls to take up STEM related careers or courses?
Like I said, lots of more boot camps. A lot of that is already happening. I know that this summer was the first time in a long time that I've seen so many girl-focused STEM camps, to promote that. So I think that is a step in the right direction. We just need more. The numbers are really little. If we can get more of this. Also in schools, a lot of school owners, proprietors, they need to promote STEM from an early age. I can't say that enough. And they really need to make it more fun and interesting.
Thank you so much, Titi, for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Well, this is where we draw the curtain on the show this week. Thank you for joining us. Remember, if you're interested in keeping track of how tech-savvy innovators are crafting solutions using technology in the country, keep watching Tech Trends because we will continue to showcase them for you, from startups to big techs and, of course, inventful thinkers. And if you missed any part of the show, you can always watch this and previous editions of the show on the Channels TV YouTube account. For Tech Trends, I'm Olayemi Odunuga. See you next time.